everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your 18th The Rookie Season 5 episode review. We're back. It's been 3 long weeks since the last episode. I missed y'all. I missed this world like crazy. And oh my god, I want to say, they've done it again. They've delivered another amazing, one of the best rookie episodes of all time. I laughed, I was shocked, I felt sad at times, and I'm just like, how do they do this? Like, how do they perfectly convey emotion and everything as well as comedy? And and this was the documentary episode for the season, so I was like, oh my god, they just know how to nail it. Like, the documentary episodes have always been my favorite in the rookie. I was also very happy, I think last year, earlier this year, the Feds got their own documentary episode, so I was very happy about that. But besides all that, I think this delivered one of the best episodes of the season, one of the best episodes in the entire show, and just in general, I was just very happy with it, and it was like a very nice welcome treat back into the world of the rookie after a few weeks away. But with that being said, let's go through the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of the rookie, because I don't even want to tease, I just want to get right into it. So we begin with the documentary crew rolling in, even them getting their own like documentary, like kind of like, you know, title card. Also for the first time ever, the documentarian is actually cast, played by the creator of the rookie, Alex Hartley. So I'm like, I was actually surprised because I heard like, oh, I thought he was just gonna be a cameo. Oh no, he's been the documentariist the whole time. So I was like, I was really curious. I was not expecting that. I really was not. I was like completely shocked. But it all makes sense, like at the end of the day, why he would be cast and him actually having like on-person interaction, him being on camera. I'm pretty sure he had the funnest time on set this episode. I'm pretty sure. So the reason why he's there this time around is because originally he just wanted to cover Dim and Juicy are the doppelgangers of Tim and Lucy from the end of season 4, beginning of season 5 that we met earlier, and kind of like picking up their story. But before we get to the actual plot itself, we're in the pickup zone where Dim is being released from prison from the last drug charge she was with back in season 4. So he's finally out. Juicy goes to visit him. It's all happy go times. They're you know, embracing, kissing, ready to go back to all you can fuck. I can't even say it because like it's not an R-rated show. They're about to have they're about to have a lot of coitus. Let's just say that. And then we fast forward to present day where we're kind of like almost everything's being kind of presented in found footage, even like the stuff that isn't in the documentary per se, where we pick up with back at the station where, funny enough, the documentary decides not to pair Tim and Lucy up for majority of this documentary because he wants him to kind of have more solo interactions, you know, reactions out of both of them, because like again, he knows that they are now dating, so he kind of wants to like separate the two, kind of give them a different context, so to speak. Where Lucy's like still very happy that the documentaries went on with his success. Tim is like not giving a shit still. 4 of them in, he does not care whatsoever. He's just doing it because he has no choice to do it. So they're mainly kind of describing the motives, how did Dim and Juicy enter the lives of Mill Wilson. So they kind of like give a very expressive story of like of those 2 episodes, their interactions, how they got their nicknames. Very interesting pairing that they brought in Bailey and Wesley into the documentary themselves, because I want to say Lopez was probably away, and I'm like, hey, Wesley's here, he knows something about it, so I'll put him in the documentary as well. Bailey was like, she kind of made sense in a way, because like she with service, but like honestly, like they were just trying to bring everyone in there, because why the hell not? And then honestly, it kind of worked, and also I don't mind. It was just kind of like questionable beginning, but like after that, they kind of just flowed right into the episode. So they're getting into more deeper about just, you know, Dim and Juicy and how like coincidentally, like, oh, well, you and Tim are now dating. And, you know, that came at a crucial point, like around the time you guys eventually decided to start dating. And he even made the assumption of like, did you guys explore anything else while you were undercover? And she was like, no, we were in separate relationships at the time. And we did not commit adultery. We didn't cheat on them. Now, once soon as we were single, we are now exploring it. So that's where we are now. But however, Tim pulls Lucy aside to tell her that there's been some sudden news Dim is missing. So Nolan and Juarez are heading over to a random mansion because since Dim's been away, or since Dim's got out, they kind of been like doing odd jobs for like very rich people, celebrities, influencers, very wealthy pockets people. Even their like recent hit before their current one that led to the events of the story was like an actor, which I'm pretty sure is a big name somewhere. I don't really know, Lance Bass or something. I could be wrong. Could be like, oh my god, he's such a big deal. How do you not know him? Like I don't know. I don't know him. I really don't know. But clearly they fucked up already. Like 3 days in, they already got caught on camera, like basically screwing in every flat surface in the house. They just did it, and I'm like, y'all were there for 3 days. He lived in a mansion, and you expect me to believe you had sex in every single flat corner of the house? Anyway, regardless of what that might be, continuing back on. So, Juicy's at their current house, i.e. just the house they're both working at, ironically. And she's expressing that, it's been a couple of hours. He's missing. She doesn't know what's going on. She checked the security cameras. There's just no outs and goings. She doesn't know what the heck's going on. And, of course, obviously, Nolan and Juarez is still kind of baffled. Well, actually, Juarez is more baffled because, again, she never met Juicy because she joined the cast, like, after that entire episode's happened. So she's still kind of new at this, so she was kind of like, we had to spend a moment on her reaction. But once eventually they get their bearings and they actually start the investigation, they have no choice considering the fact that, like, yeah, it's considering the status of, like, how Tim and Lucy are and their connection with Milton Wilshire, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have to, like, get ourselves involved here. But once they take all the reports and everything, a few days pass and they find Dim's body in a trash bin somewhere in the middle of LA. And originally, I forget. Aaron finds, Thorson finds him, and he assumes he's Bradford. So he's like, Officer Bradford's now. And then, like, there's Tim on the walkie, just like, what the fuck you talking about? I'm right here, and I'm just like, oh my god. And even Aaron's like, I couldn't tell. Like, they look almost exactly the same, and I'm like, yeah, he's not right. I was actually wondering, was Aaron part of that episode? I don't remember. I don't think he was, but I could be completely wrong, as I always am. Anywho, going back to the episode. So once they discover Dim is dead, they kind of have to elevate this to, like, okay, now we're in a murder mystery, a murder investigation mode. All hands on deck. Let's try and figure that out. But the plot thickens a little bit, even when Juicy's reaction is like, obviously in distraught because, like, she just lost her partner. The other thing is that apparently they put out an APB for Dim, but apparently once they found Dim's body, Aaron forgot to turn it off. So there are still officers looking for Dim, and they eventually found a different body. Because for context reasons, Dim and Juicy would somehow get into these very high class locations because there would be job openings, and they were very quick to act on it. So their more recent one, Dim beat up a handyman that was the handyman for the house, but then he took over for him once he kind of beat him up, telling him, like, okay, get out of the house, get out, never come back here, I'll kill you if I see you again. And the maid, which Juicy took over for, already disappeared like a week ago, so they were like, oh, perfect, we have a capable woman here who is ready to take care of your kids. So there you go, there was your openings, and they found the body of the maid that was missing. And considering that it's coincidental, like, oh, Dim's dead, and also this maid is also dead, they kind of have to suspect maybe Juicy killed them both. So they call her, and even the interview is, like, just so, like, ready to go, like, just like, oh my god, like, I gotta have a moment with you, I gotta interview you later, which I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, chillax, like, chill out, don't worry about this. They pull Juicy in, they're about to start the interrogation over, but Nolan calls them over for some fresh news, some fresh takes. Actually, no, that's when they discovered the bot. So once they go in, and Juicy's still saying, I don't know this woman. I never met her. All I just knew is that she was the maid and not the maid, the nanny, and that was about it. That's all I knew about her. And then they had an alibi. They were on vacation at the time, out of the country, so they were not. Which actually is surprising because, like, usually you can't leave the country as soon as you get out of jail. Prison. I believe that's the right rule. I could be wrong. I gotta look up my facts. So yeah, they have an alibi there, so it clearly wasn't them, meaning that they kind of have to search elsewhere for this information, and they do. They find it in the hands of another individual who was the previous handyman for the site, who was texting her very often. It was mostly bullying, and honestly, it was kind of weird because I didn't really give too much information about this because like it was just some random bullying that he decided to do, and then he accidentally killed her. I'm like, I'm pretty sure there was some more stuff involved, but I'm pretty sure they cut it down for time constraints for this episode. So he apologizes, but he's still, but for him, he's like, I don't know who the hell this dim guy is, this Jake guy is. I really don't know. And they're kind of explaining, like, well, he had left some out of the house somehow. And he's like, well, did you check the secret door? So they go back to the house, and they find a secret door that goes inside of a secret tunnel, that goes inside into a secret room, which holds very valuable memorabilia, very valuable antiques, paintings, artifacts, all that sort. And they find a very special piece in there. They find none other than a painting of Gray's doppelganger, which I'm like, oh my freaking god. I was just so like not expecting that. It got an audible reaction out of me, and I was just like, what the heck are they doing? Like, this is just too funny. Gray's just like baffled because like he doesn't know how to react. Like, should he be like, smiling, continuing the trend of the other two of like just like having like that guy doesn't look like me. He accepts it right away. Like, yeah, that guy looks like me, and he even like brings up some information about him via a museum curator who knew about the piece and like was expressing that, and he was like, Gray was kind of using this moment to like kind of stroke his ego a little bit, saying like, I don't know if I'm related to this individual, but I will say we have very similar qualities, which I'm like, I love you, Gray, so much, but that was so corny. It really was. Even like Gray had to take a selfie with the damn painting. But as they were searching for the room, they find there was an escape hatch hidden beneath another piece of another portrait. So they found the way that Dim would have escaped with it. But the question is, where did he go? Why was he there? There's still like one answer leads to more questions, so it's never really done, so to speak. Eventually they start exploring their next big break comes in when Juicy goes to talk to the interviewer and says like, well, there was someone trying to kill us earlier, but I didn't want to say anything to the cops because they just might find a way to pin this on me at the end of the day. Where they were off filming a video in the car about to go home, and all of a sudden they start getting like attacked by this other car. They get pulled over to the side of the road, but they lived. It wasn't a total wreck. But instead of calling the police and everything, they decided to like hightail it and just run out of there. Which I'm like, no, you can. I mean, yeah, you guys have done some shitty things before, so I'm like, but like you need your car, so I'm like, yeah, you kind of really need to like report it. But they abandoned it, so the police never really looked into it that much, considering the fact that, like, okay, they're not reporting it, so they must be forfeiting their rights to pursue a claim or investigation about this. But soon after she shows him the video about it, she gets a text message from a random number saying that I'm here. I want my item. I want it now. Otherwise, you're dead. So, knowing that Juicy's being targeted now, Lucy finds this as the perfect opportunity for her to return to her Juicy persona, going back undercover, this time solo, thankfully. Where she goes meet up with the guy. The guy's being very vague, not really being so much of like, very on the point. What is the thing you're trying to steal? What is this thing? He's just being very, very vague of like, Jake promised me something. He didn't deliver. You, his technical next of kin, I want my item or I'm killing you. I'm going to show you the taste of motor or something like that. But eventually, once, Lucy doesn't really know what the hell's going on, but she's making the best of like trying to like act like she doesn't know anything. He gives up and decides to like take her into wherever the hell he was going to take her. But since like, Lucy had a backup of everything, she called them over and they're about to arrest the dude. But the CIA was also there to also arrest the guy. So both sides were just so confused, like, what the fuck are we stepping into right now? So the CIA were conducting another investigation on this particular dude that called Juicy over a different other charge. But when the interviewer, the documentarian goes to go interview the CIA, they're like, I cannot comment about that this time. I cannot give information about this time. Then what's the fucking point of you giving them clearance, giving them access, letting them send an entire fucking film set in your office when all you're going to say is like, I cannot answer these questions. Like, what the hell are you like? Jesus Christ. But they do manage to disclose some information like, yeah, this guy was an arms dealer. He had some pretty high connections, and he did have he was on vacation in the same area that Jake and Dim and Juicy were the week of the maid's murder. So that's where they could have made contact. They did make contact, and apparently he hired Dim to go to this house, get himself in there, and find this artifact, this ancient gun, this ancient weapon that, I sound so mythological and movie-like, but it's really not, that is very valuable, is worth a lot of money, and Dim agreed to do it without telling Juicy. So that sadly was a big loss, considering the fact Juicy doesn't know anything, so they can't really get any more information out of her. So that explains everything with him being in the secret room and everything. The question is, how did he die? Is the question, like, because he never delivered the weapon to the arms dealers, so that means the weapon's still out there, so no one really knows what's going on. Eventually, they have no choice but to check phone records, see if that can, bring up so many clues. And while Dim never had an official phone per se, they managed to get a number from the arms dealer. So when they linked that back, they found the burner phone. They assume it's Jake's, or Dim's in this case. And yeah, it does reveal that he was cheating on Juicy with someone else, and it turns out to be her best friend. Just the classic story. Who does the boyfriend cheat on? Most likely the girlfriend's sister, the girlfriend's friend. And I'm just like, oh God, this is torture. But eventually, he broke it off from them. He decided to end it for whatever reason. And she got so jealous and got so rageful that she tried to kill them by pulling them off the side of the road, which that didn't work. She tried reaching out to say, I'm sorry, which I'm like, dude, you try to kill them. Sorry's not gonna cut it. Hell, you should be lucky he's not pressing charges. But eventually, she gets him to be, she convinces him to come see her, which that was the moment where she killed him and planted his body in the dumpster and probably took the gun. So they go to arrest her. She sadly shoots Nolan. Actually, no, before we get to that scene, I know, like, big cliffhanger. I said, oh, she shoots Nolan, but I'm like, no, don't worry, Nolan doesn't die. He's the main star of our show. He's never going to die. There were some, like, printed out text messages from Dim's phone, which reveals some very scandalous messages that the documentary tried to, like, get Lucy and Tim to say. Both immediately declined to do so, and no one was about to say it, but he's like, nah, I'm just not comfortable with this. I'm really not. But yeah, so afterwards I want to say they reach over to, so they go to arrest her. She pulls out the gun, shoots Nolan, but she gets arrested after that. She immediately gets taken down. And I'm just scared, like, is Nolan shot on the documentary episode? But, like, no, he's just faking it for the cameras. And I'm just like, damn, this man, I love him so much. And thankfully, he's perfectly safe and sound. Afterwards, so, yeah, that was kind of the end of things. Like, she gets arrested. She gets sentenced for murder and attempted murder. And, yeah, that's also, I mean, obviously, Juicy's just left in the middle of things, like, no boyfriend, no friend, no real, like, direction in life anymore. So they're just, like, wondering what happens to her now. Like, what happens? And apparently Juicy has been trying to, like, flirt with the documentary. It's like trying to make him her next boyfriend. But sadly she gets called away to work. And then she's like, give him my number. Call me. I'm just like, damn. I mean, sadly he did cheat on her, so I'm like, okay, I'm not really faulting her for, like, immediately trying to move on, but, like, it's a breakup still. Like, I'm still, you wanted to give some time before you jump into the bed with the next person. But anywho, over throughout this entire documentary, the documentary has been trying to get a rise out of Tim and Lucy, trying to, like, get them to admit that there could be some potential similarities between their relationship and Dim and Juicy, and it very much is like they're doing their best to kind of high rise it. Even, like, when they get to the final interview set piece at her apartment, she's just, like, very vocal, saying, hey, we're in a good place right now. We're very hopeful this will lead to better things down the road. And right now we're just very much happy and kind of in love. So that's all they got to say. And even, like, Tim frightens them, like, okay, this is over. Clean up the house. You better get out of here. Which I'm like, solid, bro. I love you, Tim. And then lastly, before we end off this episode, like, the documentary part is over, but by my point. But, the painting, the portrait of Grace, still, like, linger in my mind. So the museum decides to announce, like, yes, it is back. We are going to implement it in our museum. Meet the general. And like, you know, Gray's just so proud. Like, this is such a proud moment for him to like be honored in art history. But then you have a random pro sister come in, slashes the painting as like a sign of like polar bear people too. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? We don't have time for your climate change. We don't have time for that in this episode. Gray immediately pounces him. And I think the best episode, the best scene in the episode and the best scene in the history of the show, where he pounces him, arrests him, and he said, no. And I'm like, I love it so much. I love it. I had to stop the episode and rewind it a couple times because I love the delivery. I love the reaction. I just love Gray's reaction. The fact that this is kind of like his own son, his baby, and he's it's gone, it's ruined. And I'm like, I love it so much. I really do. So Gray's in distraught that he lost it, but then Wilshire decides to commission him a brand new painting of him being a naked dragon slayer, which I'm like, he said he'll take it. He'll take the victory, which I'm like, it's sweet. And a lot of people said going into this, like, oh, Gray is gonna retire. I'm like, bullshit. Gray ain't gonna retire anytime soon. He's still kicking. He's still living. So I'm very happy about that. Very happy. But yeah, that was the end of this week's episode of The Rookie. The best episode overall, and I'm just smiling all over. But yeah, I'm just a big fan of this episode. I loved every scene. I loved everything. This was just perfect. I'm not going to say everything was perfect. You know, it's really difficult to make a perfect episode of TV. I said this will be the closest case The Rookie ever gets, because like everything was just the comedy, the drama, like wrapping up Tim and Juicy's saga, giving more context to Tim and Lucy, Nolan being in the most uncomfortable places this episode. I loved it. I really loved it. This was just such a breath of fresh air, a good palate cleanser after everything we've been through. And yeah, I was really happy about it. But yeah, so for me going into this, I can't say much more. I give this my highest praise. I like everything was just perfect. And shout out to Alexi Harley for making his stamp on the Rookie universe. Thank you so much. But yeah, so for me, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed it so much. My favorite of the entire show. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this week's episode of The Rookie. Let's have a conversation down below as always, but I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's to Do from ActionX. We're reviewing every episode in the 5th season of The Rookie. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's to Do besides our Rookie episode reviews. Right now, we're currently doing the Rookie Feds episode reviews, which come out every Wednesday morning. Walker episode reviews, which come out every Thursday nights, and Perry Mason season 2 episode reviews that come out every single Monday night. But if you don't care about The Rookie, you're in luck. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode review. Same time, same place. So see you then. But until then, stay safe out there. Please like, favorite if you want to. Please ring the bell. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, peace out.